how that works.
Like,
Yeah,
are
mine's
you
been
still
just,
using? Oh, I was just going to ask you if you're still using the PineTime at all. I know you said there was an issue where
No.
like something where it just basically stopped working for you or something.
Yeah, no, I switched to I have a Pixel Watch.
Oh yeah, okay.
So,
how's that?
It's like a completely different thing. The PineTime was unfortunately very limited in what it could do, and it was also not very consistent. So on paper, I just wanted something that was going to give me all of my alerts on my wrist so that I could feel the notifications and then be able to respond to them, because I was getting a lot of flack from people from not feeling my phone in my pocket.
Right.
And so either I'd not hear it or not feel it, one of the two. And so I thought, okay, at a minimum, I wanted to be able to get like notifications, vibrating ones on my wrist. And when it worked, when it gave me them, it was great. They were fine. But it seemed like there was a lot of them that were not, excuse me, not working for some reason. And I could not figure out why. The biggest problem with that watch is its reliance on the third-party app that was being sort of a general app for all.
Gadget Bridge.
Yeah, Gadget Bridge, because it's not really built for the PineTime, and also because the PineTime scope is pretty narrow. It wasn't clear which features in there in Gadget Bridge were actually applicable to PineTime. So there were things that I thought should work but didn't, and it was also just a lot of like, workarounds and hacks and stuff. So I really feel like, and I get it, Pine 64 did not put a lot of, effort into, or at least they're not selling it for very much. So why would they build custom software or have the management software for it? But what I figured out is that the watch itself is capable as it can be, really without a phone component. So either for, if you're into the health tracking stuff, if you're into, the ability to have like interoperability and stuff like that, like you really need to have a solid app on the phone. And so yeah, that's where it failed me in a lot of cases. Then it just, like, the screen just basically broke and stopped working too. So that was the other big thing, is after about almost a month or just around a month, the screen just got a lot of artifacts on it. And it was weird because like it would go away for a little bit, or if I rebooted it would be okay. But then like very soon after, it would be right back to the way it was. And then at first it was just the top of the screen, and then it started to come down. So yeah, the experiment of, did I enjoy having a smartwatch, and the promise of the things that it could do if it was working properly. And so at least helped me answer that question, that yes, I did want to have that. And then when I went looking for, OnePlus has a nice watch, and Samsung obviously has one, the Google Pixel one.
Nowhere watch. Or no,
Yes.
not Nowhere, Nothing Watch.
Nothing Watch. Yep. And those are all the Wear OS watches, the Android stuff. And then you have other manufacturers like CMF that make their own, that have its own sort of custom operating system or watch, system. Excuse me. What's the one that trying to think of the other manufacturer that I have been looking at. Let's see. I'm not sure where it is right now, but PineTime or something like that. Anyway, so there are other watches, and so it really came down to, the stuff like the CMF watch and some of the lower powered ones last for a long time, but you also still get most of the things. You just don't get the convergence with the phone, except that you get it through their app, and so whether or not the app's any good. I think if I had to do over again, like, I don't love the Pixel Watch, and the biggest reason why is it's so reliant on Fitbit, because Google bought Fitbit.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
It's really, unfortunately, their integration of it just feels like it's really bolted on, just sort of like slapped on there. Like, here's a Google Pixel product that's really like a Fitbit product with some Pixel stuff thrown on there. That's kind of how I feel. It's like, and Wear OS, is okay. The assistant is okay. I do use the speakerphone, believe it or not. It's really easy to just hit the button and talk to someone for a minute. I wouldn't have a long call on it, but it's good for a quick call. So there's stuff to like about it. The fact that it has a custom strap connection is really stupid and annoying, instead of just like a normal one that you can get any band. So you're really limited in the bands you can get. It's really a big like mix of pros and cons. And the reason I wanted this one over a Galaxy Watch or some of the others, except for the OnePlus, is the battery life, because this one will last a solid like 2 days, pushing into the third day, versus what everyone has said the Galaxy Watch will barely last a day. Which is just kind of unacceptable, I think.
Mine does like 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, mine.
What do you have?
Mine's at 3 days.
The 5, I think, 5 or 6.
Okay.
5 or 6.
That's what I got. Mine at one of those Galaxy Watch. Yeah.
Galaxy Watch.
Okay. Every review I read was like, no, you barely can get a day out of it. So maybe I'm just following the wrong people.
No, I've heard that about the Apple Watch for sure.
Yeah.
So one of the iterations of the Galaxy Watch did have that problem, but a lot of that is people have that thing turned on wherever you turn your wrist, the screen comes on. That's the first thing I turn off.
I keep that on.
Mine's got the constant screen on unless I turn it, and then it becomes like active. So it goes into like a sleep mode where it just shows the time, and then it'll show everything else once I like either hit the thing or if I turn my wrist. And mine's the Galaxy Fit 3, so it's supposed to be more like the band. What do you want to call it? The
Fitbit
fitness one. It's
well,
much
it's supposed
slimmer.
to be more. Yeah, it's the slimmer design and stuff, but it's got like a 4-day battery life, even with it constantly running like that.
Gotcha. The one I was thinking of is Amazfit was the one I was trying to think of.
Yeah. I had a Amazfit.
Did you have the Blip?
So
whatever it was? BIP?
I had 2 of them. I had the BIP and the Amazfit GT5, something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah, they just came out with I think it's called the Active, and it's Active 2, so it's a round face instead of the original Active is a rectangular face, and I think that looks pretty good.
And you can't beat the price.
And and what's weird though is they did one for 100, and then they have one that's 129, which is like the premium version. And it's like I don't know who wouldn't just want the premium features in the first place. So if I'm considering like maybe getting it, I'm playing this game with myself where I have a bunch of like stuff, a collection of things that I don't want, or just stuff around the house that if I had just sold, I could probably like make hundreds of dollars off of, and then it's like, then I can just like justify buying another watch. Because it's funny, because I got this watch, and my wife and daughter were both like, "Why did you get another watch? You already have like 5 watches." I'm like, maybe I like watches.
The collector.
And I do.
Yeah.
Actually, I mean, I don't want to be obsessive about it, but I actually do enjoy watches. So, is it such a big deal? I don't know.
I got my grandpa's watch up on the mantle.
Oh, do you? Oh my God, they're in the other room yelling right now, yelling and crying and screaming. Some kind of
this is why you're in here and not out there.
Some kind of 12-year-old crisis.
Is it concerning your watch collection?
Yeah.
No, it's
They heard it.
It's
Daddy's
concerning.
watches are getting out of hand.
Concerning not having the right bathing suit for a party or something.
Yeah, that's a big
Oh.
crisis.
Yeah. So it's distracting. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. I think the Amazfit, for the price, like the build quality looks really good. The one reason I didn't go for it in the first place was there's a guy, a German guy that does testing of all of like the GPS, the heart monitor, like all of that stuff to see how accurate it is. And a lot of these watches, the Amazfits in particular, did terrible on pretty much all of his tests. Yeah,
most of them are terrible.
But apparently this Amazfit Active 2, for whatever reason, it does really well. So it might be one that I just want to take a look at, because it's has a 10-day battery life for typical use, which is pretty sweet. Large display, 44 millimeter case, 2000 nits brightness. And I think the Zepp app actually looks pretty good. I mean, I don't have any,
it's fine
experience with it, but for what it is, I mean, it can't be worse than the Fitbit. I personally think Fitbit is the app itself is terrible. Like, it's really not good, and it doesn't have like a dark mode. It's really janky for what it is. It's like, it's hard to believe that that's like one of the
standard
best. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't know, maybe I'm just picky, I guess.
So final verdict on the PineTime. I'll let you put it through all its paces.
If it wouldn't have broken, I probably would have a better rating for it. But because I know Moss had one and it broke, and the one I have, and so Bill has one and he says his still works, which is fine. But yeah, no, I was just disappointed because it was not consistent. It relied on poor software, with no offense to the people who do Gadget Bridge, and then it just
build quality. Yeah. Oh, well, that's too bad.
It is. It is. And after all, it was all said and done, I ended up spending like $50 because I had to pay shipping and all the rest of it. So even though it's only a $25 watch, by the time you get it shipped, and it took like 5 weeks to get here, and
Pine's shipping is rather expensive, which is why I try to make sure when I buy something from them, I buy enough to make it worth it. So, like when I bought the PineTime, I made sure to also get the power supply that they had, which was really good. It lasted a couple of years before it died, and then, or not the PineTime, but the PineSol. I got the Pine Power, and then I also made sure to get the tips for the PineSol from them, because they had a really good price on the tips that only was worth it if I was buying other things and bringing the aggregate cost of shipping down.